Hello, everyone. Feels like it's been a really long time for me, but welcome back to the Jack and Joe show. Jack, how are you doing? And thanks a lot for covering with our good friend Jack Stroudley while I was off.
Our very good friend Jack Stroudley filled in. Joe Sansom, you're back. Happy New Year.
Happy
I'm
New
ready
Year
to
to you
talk
as
some
well.
Fulham stuff. That'd be great.
Yeah, and what a time to come back. I hope I'm not a curse because someone in the comments pointed out the last episode. Since I've gone, we've won every game. I hope it wasn't to do with me. Well, let's find out, I suppose. But today we'll briefly talk about the FA Cup game from the weekend against Hull, which we won. Fantastic. And 2023 has been great so far. So let's look forward to the game we've all been waiting for, which is Chelsea at home. I still remember, Jack, our preview video just before the Queen passed away when we were really feeling up for it. And I remember predicting a Fulham win. I think that you predicted minimum a draw as well. We were both feeling good. And, I think that we're going to echo that today, most likely, in terms of feeling positive ahead of playing them. So first off, let's point out, and Jack, you rightly said off camera, since lockdown, this was the first game that we've spoken about in terms of Hull, where neither of us were there.
Frauds.
Yeah.
Absolute
Plastic
frauds.
fans. I mean, you get to more games than me, Jack, so this is slightly more usual, but I presume that you managed to find a way to watch the game. I know I did, or at least watch the highlights back and have looked at it. I mean, to be honest, if you didn't, you haven't missed too much, but a routine Fulham victory with our second string team mostly. But let's talk about that, Jack. The team that we put out, there was a few, first team faces. What did you make of it? And what did you make of the game as a whole?
As a whole, hey. Well, I think this was a good team to play. I think Silva made it clear that he was going to play a strong team. He respects the cup, so I was expecting a strong team, and thus we saw it. So I mean, I was expecting. Obviously, he came off the bench. Nathaniel Chalobah, Natty Chabs. He came off the bench, as did Paulinho, which is pretty cool. I expected Onma to be in and around, but I didn't actually know that he was injured. To be fair, so he didn't take part. But no, I was happy. And what I was pleased mostly with is that 2 goals from 2 players who needed a bit of confidence, like Lacazette and Dan James. And I think it was a good performance. I literally couldn't really watch the game. I was on my way back from the Palace Southampton game. So I watched it on Bet365, but I've subsequently watched the highlights. And on the balance of play, we rode our luck at times. I feel like I've seen that game before, Hull v Fulham, where they not batter us, but have a lot of chances, and we keep the clean sheet and we get the goal. Albeit, we won 1-0 last we won 2-0 this time. I was pleased. It seemed like a balanced performance, a clean sheet again. Nice to see Ream get dropped as well, just to get some rest into him. And obviously Mitrovic didn't need to play either. So yeah, I'm really pleased, and we're through to round 4, and we could start really talking about the potential of a cup run. Joe, how did you see the game?
Yeah, for sure. So I watched it on a stream, and I spent most of it quite bored, but in a good way, to be honest with you, because it was quite boring. But we were winning, and it was feeling quite routine. Hull, as you say, did have some really good chances, especially at 0-0. The one that Bobby Reed basically handed to them on a plate, but they shot wide. I think that was about 5 minutes in. That would have been a fantastic start for them. Rodak made some good saves, particularly just before we scored the second goal on the break. He tipped over the header from Estupiñán. I always say it wrong, so apologies if I butchered that. And he was a threat when he came on, by the way. He's one of Hull's top scorers, and they didn't start him. They also didn't have Seri in the squad. Christie didn't get any minutes, so the fun aspects of the tie was sort of removed. But we did have some fun seeing some players that we haven't seen. So Kazawa, obviously getting his goal. And Solomon, in fantastic news, came off the bench. And with one of the first things he did, he had a really nice dribble, which was really like, obviously figure of speech. I was just sat at home, but got me off my seat, got me a bit excited. I was still sat down, full disclosure, sipping a cup of tea, I think. But happy days. I think that it was a bit of a wake-up call to the fact that Kevin Mbabu is probably going to leave. And by that, we don't know if there is any injury. We doubt it because it hasn't been mentioned. The fact he wasn't in the squad at all, and in Peter Rutz's article that came out today, Monday, at the time of filming, he mentions that he only wanted to take 2 right-backs, which is fair enough. Fact is, he's classing Bobby Reid as a right back. He obviously went with him. What does that say about Mbabu? I mean, for a cup tie, third round against slightly lower opposition, you'd have thought as a banker for him to start, let alone be in the squad. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. There's been the rumours about Cedric Suarez. There's been a few other names that have sort of entered the fray recently with sort of half-hearted links. And it'll be very interesting. I was just saying to Jack off camera that Arsenal play tonight against Oxford. I wonder if Cedric will be in the team, because obviously if we are going to try and pick him up, we wouldn't want him to be cup tied. So that'll be very interesting. I don't know if that actually play into Arsenal's heads, because let's face it, he's their player. Why are they going to care? We're still most likely going to sign him anyway if we want to. That's not going to be we're not going to be like, oh my goodness, he can't play against Sunderland at home. Now we're not going to sign him. That's not going to happen. Yeah, but that being said, it would be useful to have him against Sunderland at home. And that is the draw we've got in the next round, Jack. And my first thought when we got that was happy days, home draw, winnable game. What about you?
Well, it did get me off my seat. I was praying for a home tie, or like a new tick away, because there was so much potential for it to be awful. Preston North End came out first, and I thought, I swear to God, if we get Preston away, City came out, and I was like, no, United came out. And I was thinking, I could probably be happy with that. But Sunderland at home, we played them 14-15. We drew at their place, and the replay was at the Cottage. We went 1-up through Hugo Rodallega, and Marcus Bettinelli made one of the worst errors. That was an awful night of FA Cup action. But this is great, because home tie against a Championship team who, yes, are going very, very well, but it's incredibly winnable. And I reckon we put out a strong team. And I think we'll get onto it, in a few weeks' time. But I think we win. I think we get to the fifth round.
Hope so.
Looking at the odds, Fulham are like 33 to 1 to win the FA Cup now, which is amazing. I mean, what's been good about this FA Cup is Chelsea have gone already. Let's say Arsenal win tonight. I think they will win tonight. One of City and Arsenal will go. Liverpool still got to beat Wolves in a replay. Then they play Brighton. Leeds have got to get past Cardiff, and I can't remember who they play next. I think it's like Bournemouth or something. You know what? It doesn't matter. I think there's an opportunity here, Joe, where we could at least get to a quarters.
Hope so, because like you say, and you're not forgetting them. You just haven't mentioned like the mid-table Premier League sides that have dropped out, the lower Premier League sides that have dropped out. There's a lot of good teams that have gone, and we're very early in the competition. And as you say, the City-Arsenal potentially game removes one of the best two teams currently in the country, which is fantastic. There's always the chance that we could draw someone and the dream just gets cut short very abruptly. There's also the chance that we could cause a big shock, because let's face it, and since we've last spoken, I would now say, like, we're going to stay up. That's going to happen because we look fit. Yeah, we're going to stay up, Jack. Come on. We are staying up.
I'm not saying it yet.
Okay. I'm going to say it. And if I look silly, then I'll be in the Thames anyway by that point. So it doesn't really matter. So we can focus on the cup. I'm not saying put our complete focus on it, forget about the league. Obviously, we're not officially staying up yet. There's still work to be done, but I think we will get it done, and we can afford to play a slightly stronger team in these cup games, because a couple of wins and you're in the quarters, like you say, and it's a game changer. Suddenly you're thinking, oh my goodness, we could get to Wembley if we win this next game. And regardless of anything else, what a day out that would be. It doesn't all have to be about winning the thing, although that would be obviously the best achievement that the club has ever had, if we were to win the cup. And it's a moment that all of us would never forget. But it's only a few wins away. And when you get a winnable draw like this, and it's not out of the question, because Sunderland are having a great season, I'm sure they'll fill up the entire Putney end and they'll give it their best shot, because they've got the same intention as us of getting far in the competition. But it should be a tie that we can progress from, at least. Which is more than can be said for if we'd have, for example, drawn City away for the 50th year in a row. And it's still possible if they beat Oxford and Arsenal. But, oh my God, I bloody hope not. Jack, let's talk about the big one. And that is this Thursday against Chelsea, the West London derby. As I said, we spoke about this when it was meant to be on September the 10th. At that point, I think the only player that we were missing was Anthony Robinson. and there was
Yes.
a question of who would replace him. And at that point, I don't think Kazawa was fit, so it could have been Tim Ream left back, someone like Diop at that point coming in at centre half. We are missing Mitrovic, and obviously Cabano's got a long-term injury. Other than that, as it stands, we're fully fit and fully available, no other suspensions. What are you thinking in terms of the team? Obviously, we can't be unchanged because of Mitrovic, but there's only one enforced change. So I guess the question is, who do you see replacing him? And what do you think the score is going to be?
Oh, well, I think Vinicius should start based on the fact that he's a similar build to Mitrovic. He can be physical if he can apply himself, and he could cause problems. He caused West Ham problems in the friendly. You know, a lot of Fulham fans are quite upset that Mitrovic is missing this. I'm upset, obviously, that he's missing it, but it's not the end of the world because he'll be back for Newcastle, which is fine, but also it gets him time to recover that foot as well, which is more important long term. So in comes Ream for Tosin, I think, after the Leicester game and obviously the whole game. We play Tete, Robinson, Paulinho, Reed, Pereira. You know the score. And then I'd go with Willian and Willian and who?
Yeah, tough one, isn't it?
Wilson or James? Maybe James after the goal.
Well, I'd go Bobby Reed.
Of course. How could we forget?
Well, but this is the thing, and there's been a few shouts for him to start up front, and I was sort of thinking, we were having a chat, I think, on our messages the other day. We were saying, oh yeah, maybe Bobby Reed, could give us something a bit different, could run in behind, maybe slightly more. But what you say is true in that we have a like for like replacement in terms of how we play in Vinicius. I'm not saying in terms of quality, but a bigger striker that can hold it up slightly better than Bobby Reed could. And I don't think we should change the whole style just because we're missing one player. Exactly. Vinicius had a great game against United as well. We mustn't forget when we should have drawn. He struggled a bit more against City. Who doesn't? And I think we should stick with him for this one. And also, we have a backup striker. If we're not going to play him when our main striker's out, then that's just very telling, isn't it? And I think that maybe he didn't have the best game against Hull. I don't think he was bad, but he just couldn't really get involved too much. But let's give it to him. Let's hope he rakes absolute havoc on Chelsea, their defence, because at the moment their confidence is rock bottom.
Amazing. It was unbelievable, wasn't
it? So Jack, score prediction then.
Fulham 0, Chelsea 0.
Okay. I mean, I've got to be honest, I wouldn't be sad about that.
No.
If we take something from this game, we mustn't forget that despite Chelsea's form, they're one of the top 6 typically. Normally one of the top 4. We never normally get one over on them, and I would take a result against them. That being said, I think we're going to beat them 2-1.
Okay.
And if we had Mitrovic fit, I'd be saying 3-1 right now. I really am confident just because of the way we're playing and the way that they're playing. And I look at their team and I'm not as scared as I should be when we're going up against Chelsea. Don't get me wrong. They have a good side. They have good players and they've been underperforming and they've got a lot of injuries that would make that team better. But the way we're playing at the moment, even when we're poor, we're just pulling it out of the bag. And that I think is a huge quality. And I reckon that we can sneak it on the day just because of our confidence and the way we've been playing. But like you say, I would take a draw if offered to me right now, just because keeps the unbeaten run going. I know it's a winning run right now. Keeps Chelsea down there below us with 3 points ahead of them, we mustn't forget. And it's a result against the top 6, which is always a bonus.
And of course, we haven't beat them since 2006.
It just doesn't happen. But then you could look at that the other way and go, what an opportunity this is. We don't get many like this when we are the form team. I wouldn't say we're necessarily the favourites, but we're not the underdogs. We're not the underdogs in this game.
We play them twice in less than a month. Chelsea away. I do think we're going to get points from these games, from those 2 games. Look, if we win, we go 6 points above them. I'm sure you have Chelsea mates. I've got Chelsea mates. Everyone's got Chelsea mates, unfortunately. And
why do we have Chelsea mates, by the way? What an awful decision.
Why? Yeah, what? Yeah, why? Yeah, would you support Chelsea? Oh, yeah, I'll buy you a beer. No.
It's awful, isn't it?
Tongue in cheek, obviously. Yeah. I do like them.
I would never buy them a beer, though. Come on.
Oh, come on. I bought it. Yeah, come on. Down the pub. No, it's not all I am Chelsea. That's who I am. It's there's a person. They've got a life. They've got family. They've got friends. They just support a football team that we do not. Well, I've got to be careful what I say. But
let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. But I was going to say, we could, the bragging rights would be phenomenal. Exactly. And would it be the end of Graham Potter? Who, of course, was going to have his first game against Fulham before the Queen passed.
He's under huge pressure already. I mean, I know that a lot of the games they played recently, it feels like I've been against teams like City, where even under, for example, Tuchel, I think that they would lose.
Yeah.
But it's the manner of the defeats. And I know that it's early days and it can't be all pinned on him, but you can't look past the facts that so far it's not just the results, which are terrible, by the way, terrible results. It's the performances as well. They probably should have lost at Forest just before they played City twice. In that second half, they were really knocking on the door trying to get the second goal. Chelsea weren't. Chelsea were backs against the wall. If you didn't know who was the team that at that point was in the relegation zone, you would have thought it was Chelsea, I would say, on that second half.
I was looking, their last win came against Bournemouth on like the 27th. But their last win before that was like Zagreb in the Champions League on like the 3rd or 2nd of November. We're in, almost mid-January now. It's ludicrous. But here we are. That's why I think all the Fulham fans are really up for it. I think it'll be a good atmosphere. It'll be a good night under the lights, BT Sport. And yeah, I mean, I think that's it.
Yeah,
I think that's it. I mean, we're in January, but nothing's really happening. I'm sure we'll do a live stream if need be.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
I mean, let's face it. Even if not be, we're surely live. I mean, Cedric Suarez deal falls through, and we're there for about 4 hours discussing what happened.
What's the game before?
It will be Sunderland.
Sunderland.
So the end of the window will be between Sunderland and Chelsea away.
We'll touch wood on that one because Sunderland. Let's not underestimate them. Last time they came to the Cottage in a league game, I know it's not relevant. It was a 4-1 win, and someone who's now not a real person has got a hat trick. Careful what we say here.
Yeah.
Again. Right. Be Reals just came up, I think. Right. Let's wrap up. Yeah. Joe, welcome back. Thanks been a pleasure as always.
Yeah, good to be back. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks again to Jack Stroudley for doing a fantastic job. And you've just had like a light bulb moment or something.
If we've got Newcastle on Sunday, we're playing on a Thursday. Will you not see us before Newcastle? Maybe we'll sneak one in depending on our Friday plans.
Yeah.
Maybe go live if we win.
Let's tell you what. Let's see what happens versus Chelsea.
We're so good.
Because oh my goodness, if we lose to Chelsea, I don't think anyone's going to be wanting to see us.
The YouTube channel will be shut down, I think.
Yeah.
Talking of which, we have hit 4.9,
yes.
which means we're 100 away. 100 people.
We are edging closer. We are
so close. It would be amazing if you haven't subscribed. You could be one of the 100 that get us there to 5K. We really appreciate the support on the channel. It's been amazing ever since we've started the YouTube channel, but to reach 5K would be great. And wouldn't it be great if we beat Chelsea and hit 5K? I think I'd rather hit 5K than beat Chelsea.
I mean, let's do both, mate. Let's just do both. Do both on Thursday. Come on, guys, we can do it. And yeah, 5K. We've been trying to get there for a long time. We really appreciate the support of the channel. We love your comments. We'd love to hear your teams for the Chelsea game. Who would you play up front instead of Mitrovic? Would you stick with Diop or would you go with Tosin? There's a lot of things. What's your score prediction? We know there are some people also that watch the channel that aren't Fulham fans, and we'd like to hear your perspective as well. But thank you for the support continuously on the channel and our videos in particular. And if you are at the Cottage on Thursday, which I hope you are, then have a great time and fingers crossed we come away with a famous result.
Would it be famous? I think it would be famous, wouldn't it?
Depending on what exactly happens, I think it could be famous.
If we win, don't run on the pitch because you'll get yourself banned and you'll miss out on the rest of the season. But enjoy yourselves within limits. Joe, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks a lot, Jack. Thanks everyone for watching.
It's been an absolute pleasure as always. We'll be back whenever. So we could be back after the Newcastle game where we're sitting on 34 points. We shall see. We'll see you later, guys. Come on, Fulham.